It's just Philly as a whole is just, it has its own identity, for better or for worse, you know? It's a very tough, blue-collar, like, blue-chip town that, like, you know, I think it pushed kids there. You know, you've seen the best and the worst on a daily basis. You've seen some of the shit you didn't want to see, and you've seen some of the most inspiring shit at the same time. And I wouldn't not be sitting here right now if it wasn't for being part of that era and time and that chapter in skateboarding.
It's been amazing. We got the boy Jimmy Gorecki out here. I mean, I was gonna say the only white dude out here, but ain't no white dude. This dude is the blackest dude I know, so I take that back.
Every time I'm in the building, they feeling me all crazy. Just made $1 million and spent it with your lady. Recouped it, chilled it, recouped it. White night, Luke swoosh shit, that's how I do shit. Listen to my new shit, it's way better than that dirt that y'all producing.
We're sitting at the park, and you just look across the street, and that fool was just going for it. It was just like, oh shit. Sure enough, like 2 tries, 3 tries later, I think, he just like rolling away. And we were just like at the park, like, straight like victory and shit.
Couple ounces of lick, beat crack, ain't nothing changed. Burn a pound in this bitch. For my change, I bust a round in this bitch. SP, Prince of Prop, put my crown on my shit. My hand in the brick, running with the rock, and my handle is sick. Biatch. Okay. Every time I'm on my grinds like.
And Jimmy also has his own brand. JSP. I encourage him to continue that path and, you know, do the things that, you know, creatively he thinks he should be doing or the things he's interested in.
Go back up here.
A good friend of mine, Sal Barbier, picked up Jimmy as an amateur skater when I was involved in a company called Aesthetic Skateboards with Sal, and that's when I met Jimmy. I think he was 17 years old. Jimmy was 17 years old.
I had heard about him from Kevin Taylor. We were kind of both via like going for the same spot on aesthetics, and Kev was like, yeah, there's this other kid we give boys to out here named Jimmy, and I was just like, fuck, another one. And then one day just at the park, he was skating through and I was like, oh, that's him, motherfucker. And I was like, though, he was cool as fuck though.
If I make this, I'll give you the board.
The ice cream, man. Remember when you come to town and everybody would lose their fucking mind?
You know, as the aesthetics portion of Zoo was kind of going their separate ways, Terry Kennedy and Nino Scalia, who's from Philly, had hit me and said, do you want to do this ice cream thing? I always enjoyed the music that was associated with Star Trek and Pharrell. There were particular fashions in skateboarding. You know, the swooshy pant era, the sweatpant era, it just, everything that was kind of like hip hop motivating. The essence of a dog sneaker. The essence of a dog $250 sneaker. First of all, notice the laces. Your feet cannot breathe with the laces tied that tight. I wasn't really mad at doing something that the direct community wasn't going to appreciate or enjoy. For me, I was like, yo, it's an amazing opportunity. I support the brand message. You know, I got to work with people I would have never imagined working with, going places I would have never imagined going. And it actually opened the door for me to work for Disney television for a couple years. Yeah, Zeke and Luther. You know, I had finished school. I knew that I wanted to make the next step, and like, it was like one of those opportunities that you couldn't really say no to. Ice Cream, we had a pilot deal with MTV, and we're working with Jeff Tremaine and the Dick House guys, and they had reached out to me for whatever reason. We have a friend that's shooting this Disney TV show, Jimmy, we think you could really help him. You got to put a boatload of money into a ton of my friends' pockets. You know, these guys would end up making like $1,000 to $1,500 to $2,000 for a day to do a couple kickflips. These kind of things happen, man. It's like, you don't just stumble upon them, you create them for themselves. So that was, the Disney thing was directly out of the Ice Cream thing.
I'm coming home.
About 1.5 years ago, I brought Jimmy on to Gourmet to do marketing and head up marketing. And he's been involved. He understands the DNA of my brand, and he's been around my brand since the beginning of the brand. Nobody knows the brand better. I don't think a lot of people know this, but Jimmy also has a degree from a reputable college in the way of business and marketing as well.
You know, Nick Terche from Diamond is an old friend of mine, and I went to Nick. I don't know anything about making clothes, about designing clothes. I'll be the first to admit that. So Nick introduced me to his production manager. His production manager introduced me to my partner, Jared Lee. But, you know, Jared's like, all right, this is the pant that you like. I had brought in the style that I had felt comfortable with. And he's like, all right, I'll try to replicate this as best as possible for you. Had them sampled, samples sat in his office for months. Jared like really motivated me, like, dude, just give it a shot. We'll see how it goes. So we put out the first collection, just put it online. And I'm like, dude, here we go. Like, no one's gonna buy this shit. And literally within the first couple hours, I think like 25 pairs sold. And I woke up the next morning, it was like 40 sold. And I'm like, all right, what's the joke? You know, like these are probably just all my friends that feel bad for me or something, you know? I probably recognized only like half of the names. The thing I'm most appreciative to is skateboarding itself. My view on life and perspective on the world has always kind of come from skateboarding. I think skateboarding teaches you to think outside of the box, and you know, for whatever you have going on in your life as a skateboarder, you know, it carries over.